Hey, everybody, welcome back. Stacker here. This is the day. This is the really big day we've all been waiting for. It's a very special day for myself. We have Elana Hagler in house. We have Mickey Minsky in the house. Thank you both for being here. How are you today?
Great.
Very happy to be here.
I'm getting some reaction here. I apologize.
Exciting.
Okay, I had to mute the other one because I was hearing myself talk twice, and I don't need that. All right. So we have a mid drop today, but I think more importantly, let's talk that American Liberty high relief gold coin and the silver medal that comes along with it. But before we talk about that, let's kind of get the people kind of acquainted with who you are and how you started at the Mint, perhaps. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, or is this too much too quick? I don't know. I'm just nervous. I'm excited.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for having me on here. So a little bit about me. I come from an art background. I'm an oil painter. I refer to myself as a representational painter or an observational painter, meaning I look at things and then I paint them, and my things tend to be more kind of in the realism category. And I started my work with the Mint. I joined the AIP program in 2019 when they put out a call for artists.
2019, so 4 years ago.
Yep, about 4.5 years ago, yeah. And I've been working designing coins and medals with them ever since.
Now, do you collect coins?
I started more recently, but I didn't collect coins before I joined the program. I never imagined that I would be designing for coins at all. But when I look back at my childhood, my family lived in a lot of different places, a lot of different countries. And I had a little tea tin that was filled with coins from all these different countries. And instead of playing with dolls or playing with action figures, I actually was down on the carpet playing with all these coins as a little kid and making up little stories and adventures with the various coins. So maybe it's not so surprising that I wound up doing this.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So will you be picking up the Morgan and Peace dollar today and or the coin and the medal that come out tomorrow? Are you thinking about getting those perhaps?
I am thinking about getting the ones for tomorrow. I have 2 kids, so I need to get them one each.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Let me ask her a little bit about her background there. She said that since she was a little girl, she had a little bit of interest in coin art. But were you interested in art in Israel where you were born? Or is there some sort of an influential person there in Israel?
Yes. So when I first lived in Israel, I was just a little kid because I was 5 years old when my family immigrated to the United States, to Los Angeles. But then in between undergrad and grad school, I actually went back and I lived in Jerusalem for 2 years, and I studied at the Jerusalem Studio School. Because my background in undergrad, originally I went to Brandeis University and I studied neuroscience and psychology. So, very different from fine art, but it's still kind of all about asking questions about perception. And then when I was 20, halfway through undergrad, I switched to fine art. And just kind of with the idea that leap in the net will appear. And all I could say is so far so good, although of course it's been a very unpredictable journey. So at Brandeis, I really learned much more art history and art theory, but what I felt like I didn't know was just how to make a painting. I just wanted the nuts and bolts of how to make a painting. And the summer before I graduated, I went in Italy to this little town called Montecastello di Vibio in Umbria. And I met Israel Hirschberg there, who had his own school, the Jerusalem Studio School in Israel. And he invited me to come study with him. And so after I graduated, that's what I did for 2 years. And he was the first person, probably most influential, who really taught me, how do you make a painting? How do you see and respond?
And he was in Italy just painting. He wasn't living there.
Yeah, he was in Italy. He had some of his students out there, and he came and he gave an artist talk. And I remember my jaw dropped, and I was like, how do I learn how to do that?
That's amazing. So how early was it in your life that you decided that you wanted to be an artist, or at least be in the arts?
So I was drawing as a kid. It was just naturally what I did. I read books and I drew, and I hung out in nature. Basically, if I had my druthers, I was climbing a tree, drawing and reading, probably not all at the same time. But as immigrants, that didn't seem like a realistic career choice. And so my family told me pretty early on, you're going to be a doctor.
Wow.
And I wanted to be a good girl. I didn't want to disappoint my family. I imagine there's a lot of people who relate to this narrative. But eventually I just couldn't see a path forward where I would be satisfied with the rest of my life if I didn't follow art. So at the age of 20, I kind of came back to my childhood passion and decided to make a go at it.
And a go you
That's
did.
incredible. What is your favorite medium? I know you do oil paintings. Is that your favorite medium, or are you all over the map as far as what mediums you use? How does that work?
I think oil probably is my favorite because just nothing compares to the lusciousness of that material.
That's a good word.
I mean, you practically want to eat it. Don't eat it at home, kids. Don't eat it anywhere. But it's such a sensually beautiful material. I also really love pastel. I love charcoal. I love graphite. Like everybody starts out with graphite, so I would say graphite is probably my first love. And of course, I've moved into digital painting, especially with my work with the Mint. And although I enjoy the digital painting a lot, there's something about actually working with the real materials. The love of that is never going to leave me.
That's amazing. And so here we are today, August 9th. Tomorrow, your design comes out. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of, and how long it possibly takes to get a coin from, getting an order from the United States Mint and then getting it approved and then to tomorrow's drop date? How does that all work for you?
Oh my goodness, it's a very long, very complex process, as I'm sure you might imagine. The first thing that happens is we get approached and asked if we're available and interested in any particular program. And then just a bunch of us, a number of artists in the AIP program will be put on it. And then we're given just kind of different guidance. It could be looser, it could be very, very specific guidance. And then individually, we're all in our homes, in our studios, just coming up with ideas. So first there's research and looking at, in this case, looking at bristlecone pines and trying to see like, what is the structure? What is the structure of like actual branches of bristlecone pines? What does the actual texture look like? And exploring other ideas as well, like not just that idea, and eventually starting to sketch and do rough sketches and working with compositions, and then turning in a final draft. But then after you turn in a final draft, you still get feedback, and so there's always a back and forth over weeks, even potentially months, and then it goes to both the committees. The committees make their recommendations, and then after the recommendation, it goes to the Secretary of the Treasury, in this case, Janet Yellen, and then she makes her decision.
Now, were you asked to edit your bristlecone pine at all in any way, shape, or form? Or did they look at that and they were like, this is it?
So usually I get lots of edits on my designs. There have been a few cases where I haven't, and this was one of the cases where I didn't get edits, where it was just like, yeah, this is it.
And you were telling us earlier, yesterday, I think it was, that you only were given perseverance as a theme, and they didn't say anything to you about a tree. They didn't say anything to you about a subject. They just said, we want something to do with perseverance, and you're the one that came up with the bristlecone pine. Is that because, did you tell us that it was something to do with you have some background about bristlecone pine that made it come up? Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Well, so they said they didn't want a traditional Lady Liberty, and that the theme was perseverance. And then after that, it was really, up to us and what we felt might best represent that. So my idea came from actually a conversation that I had with my beloved Uncle Neil. who was telling me about his seventh grade history teacher from White Plains, Scotch Plains, New Jersey, Scotch Plains Junior High, New Jersey. His name was Raymond E. Perry, and he was a fantastic teacher. And all the kids used to call him Mr. Bristlecombe. So, because they thought that he was just ancient, right? They used to make fun of him because of his age. And of course, the guy was actually in his 50s, which just goes to show you what kids know. Yeah. But he was just reminiscing about this amazing teacher he had and the nickname. And that made me think about the bristlecombs and what an amazing kind of iconic image it could make for perseverance. You know, just about a few days ago, not even a week ago, we were visiting with really good friends of ours, and they have kids close to the same age as our kids, and we were talking about what do we want most for our kids, you know, as they make their way in this world. And what we came to was grit, perseverance, you know, because everybody in this life is going to get kicked in the teeth at some point. You know, we're all going to have these amazing challenges that are just going to throw us for a loop. And the most important thing I want for my kids is to be able to, you know, shake themselves off and keep on pushing forward. That's the main thing.
100%. I totally agree with that. Now, people have asked here in the chat, have you seen the bristlecone pines in the wild?
I have, and it was amazing. Really breathtaking. It feels like, you know, I went to the White Mountains, which are part of the Sierra Nevadas in California. And it feels like you're on the top of the world. For anybody out there who is obsessed with Narnia, like I was obsessed with Narnia as a kid, it feels like you've wandered into Aslan's country somehow.
Right, it does.
There's this stillness, there's this sense of awe. And, you know, I'm a really tactile person, so of course I had to be touching it. And one of my friends who was with me was like, why do you keep touching the trees? And I was just like, that's always been me. It's really indescribable, the sense of being with these things whose lifespan is not measured in years, but in millennia. I mean, it's hard to wrap my brain around that. And I think like I mentioned yesterday, the feeling that I got when up there in the bristlecones and touching the bristlecones, the only thing I can really compare that to is when I was living in Jerusalem and I went to the Western Wall and just putting my hands against the stones of the Western Wall.
Very cool. Hey, I want to add something or ask her something. Did Joseph Mena get a chance to do something similar before he carved it?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Oh, wow.
That's a great idea, Mickey. Hint, hint.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on.
Yes. So there's so many questions we have here. And we're about 5 or 6 minutes from the drop for the piece Morgan Proof Dollars, which is going to be amazing. We have 129 fine folks in here. Elana, would you like to talk about your Instagram or your wherever people can find your paintings? I'm going to share 2 of them right now. And if you can see the screen, can you talk to us a little bit about what we're looking at?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do entire screen here of the sharing. I'm going to do that right now. And here's the first one right here.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite paintings that I ever painted. It was during the end of my time studying at the Jerusalem Studio School, and my grandfather, Chaim, Dzieda, actually, the title of this painting means grandfather or grandpa in Russian. So he flew out to visit me during my time there, and he sat for 3 sessions where I painted this from life. And at that time, because this was a while ago that I painted this, it felt like this painting kind of came from the future, because I didn't feel like I was quite this good yet. And this painting was just like a glimpse of things that would come in the future. It was just kind of just ahead of where I was at the time. And a really good, older, more experienced painter friend at the time actually wanted to swap paintings for this. And
Wow.
the idea of owning one of his paintings was so incredibly enticing for me. But this one of my grandfather was like the most meaningful painting I had ever painted at that point, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And this was one of those tricks that life plays on you, because after Israel, I went to the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts for graduate school, which is America's oldest art school. It's a really cool place to study. And I was a TA there, and for a figure painting class. And at the request of the instructor, I actually brought this painting in, and I talked about painting the head, the anatomy of the head. And then the instructor had me go to a different floor to return some books to a library. And when I got back, the class was empty, the painting was gone.
Oh.
That's what I get for not wanting to swap with that wonderful painter. That painting disappeared. And so I like showing this painting because it's one of my all-time favorite paintings. And the fact that it's my grandfather makes it mean, that much more to me, because I'm hoping maybe somebody out there will see it.
Yes. So you don't have this in your possession any longer at all?
I don't.
Oh
my
what
goodness.
a travesty.
What a terrible
Now,
story.
can we talk about the next one that we're looking at here on the screen, please?
Yeah, this one I have. This is a recent one. So I recently moved to Los Angeles after 23 years away. And while I really appreciated all the places that I got to live and all the, people I met and all the opportunities I had, I was homesick for 23 years. And so this was the first painting I painted upon coming back to Southern California, and it's called Homeward. It just kind of talks about my love and my feeling for the land that I'm in right now. And after all the traveling I did for so many years, just wanting to be here, stay put, paint California.
And I don't want to categorize it, but I'm going to ask you, is this qualify as an impressionist painting?
I wouldn't call it impressionist. I would just call it figurative painting, representational painting.
I like how you don't want to put yourself in the box. That's awesome.
I'm going to put my favorite up, which is also California.
Go ahead, sir.
That's okay.
Sure.
And I wanted to ask you a couple questions on it. You see that?
Hey,
Not yet.
I got to add it to the screen there. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Lana, I really, really love this piece because, well, I've seen you doing it in photographs. I think someone took a photograph of you, maybe your daughter or your husband. Is this done because you were so happy to be in the West and you just really felt like you were at home, or why would you do this?
Yeah, it's just when I first came back, there was this feeling of rightness. When a place imprints on you when you're young, when you're growing up, and then every place afterwards that you live in feels different, and then you come back and it's just the sense of rightness floods you. The sense of the air feels right, the plants look right, the colors look right, the quality of the light feels right. And so that's something that I just wanted to capture, and that's something I'm going to want to keep exploring for a long time.
Now, do you sell your paintings? And if so, where do you sell them?
I've worked with lots of galleries in the past, but since I recently moved to California, right now I've just been selling out of my studio because I've been so busy just getting situated since we got here that I haven't even looked at galleries yet. So that's on my to-do list.
Okay. I'm just trying to let everybody know that we have about 30 seconds before noon. So if you're not logged in, please log in. You'll be thrown into the Mint's waiting room, and I'm glad they employed this through Cloudflare. That means that everybody has an equal chance at getting these. So I wish everybody good luck. I hope you're able to score the ones you want and as many as you would like. And listen, if you're having a problem with this, remember, smell the flower, blow out the candle. That's going to help out a lot. I've been doing it this whole time, and you haven't even noticed it. I'm so nervous. You don't even know. This has been amazing so far. So thank you, both of you. I really appreciate this. Yep. It is noon, so it is time. If you have been able to get in, let us know about your experience, whether you're able to get in and out, or if you had some bad gateway errors or 404 errors and whatnot. Now, with that said, let's keep talking. I like where this is going.
I got a few
do you
more
have anything you want to share? Maybe some insights about the Mint that you can share? Because I'm sure people would like to know.
Well, obviously, I don't speak for the Mint. I speak only for myself. No, it's been a pleasure working with the Mint. The most fun part is just the assignments that I get put on. I learn so much when I research the projects that I get put on, and it's just so much fun. I learn about so many important people some that I have heard about, some that I haven't heard about, and so working with everybody at the Mint, they're all consummate professionals. The program managers, it feels like it runs like a well-oiled machine. And that's nice to see because not a lot of things in life run like a well-oiled machine.
Isn't that the truth? I'm going to do my transaction right now, folks. So pardon me.
So I'm going
I've
to
got
ask you
the
a couple
Peace dollar,
questions.
and I've got the Morgan dollar in cart, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the final review, and I'm about to place the order with the shiny candy-like red button.
Hope it
And
works,
here
hope it
we
works.
go. This 12:01, and my order summary is done. Winner,
Hey,
winner,
that was
chicken
pretty.
dinner.
Congratulations.
Yay. Now, did you hear anything about the 2021 Morgan and Peace dollar drops that happened, the 6 that dropped in 2021, and how the director writer actually was so successful that it actually got him fired?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, he was a masterful creator, crafter of, I guess, the W quarters. Genius move, but he also was one of the ones that brought back, or at least helped bring back, I believe, the Morgan and Peace dollars for the commemorative 100th year anniversary. And these were so popular that the Mint website crashed, bang, boom. It was terrible. And people had such bad experiences that they were calling their Congress people and complaining to them, saying, hey, this is terrible. And in October of 2021, he was actually gone about 2 months, 3 months after that. It was really sad.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
But that gives us Miss Ventress Gibson. And honestly, the way she's doing things here, I think she's actually outplaying all previous Mint directors combined. So kudos to her. I really dig her in the most awesome. Like, I look up to her and the way she's a quick learner. She's a quick study. She knows what people want, and she gives it to them. I mean, what else is there? That's what a business does.
So I wanted to ask her some questions about the other work she's done, the metallic works. The most famous thing she's done, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, is the reverse of the Sally Ride. That is just an interesting project. There's something about the Sally Ride quarter that when I first looked at it, I didn't appreciate it, but now I appreciate it every time I look at it. I seem to grow in my appreciation for it. I never noticed that the side of Sally Ride is actually a window, because you have to look really carefully and you see behind her neck how it kind of completes the circle. I think when we first talked about it, was first released, we called it a swoosh, didn't we? We're like the swoosh behind Sally Ride, but it's actually a window. That's very interesting. So, do you have any other little secret factoids that you can tell us about that coin?
Well, I'm not allowed to put any Easter eggs in. So, of course, had I put any Easter eggs in, which I wouldn't have done, I wouldn't be able to tell you about it.
So, out of all the coins you've designed for the United States Mint, do you have a favorite, or are they equally awesome?
Oh my goodness. That's like asking to choose between your children.
Isn't
I don't
that the
think I
truth?
could. Yeah.
Or your favorite Led Zeppelin song? I don't think it's possible. No.
Possible.
Now, let's see if there's any questions in the chat. Mickey, do you have any questions from your special list?
Let's see here. About the Sally Ride or any of the coins, but mostly Sally Ride, because, I was just going to say, when I was growing up, what I thought Abraham Lincoln looked like is what Abraham Lincoln looks like on the penny. So when I was a little kid, I would pick up a penny and say, hey, there's Abraham Lincoln. And basically that was it, because we had so many pennies surrounding us everywhere, on the table, in our pocket, in the drawer. So to have your artwork basically like, just, you you can't even avoid seeing it in your life. It's kind of must be kind of interesting and overwhelming. The Sally Ride quarter.
Well, it feels like a big responsibility that I want to do right by these people. You
Yes.
know, I want to do this.
I know that is one thing that creative people have. You want to finish it, you want to get it done, and you don't want to let them down. I think that's the biggest pressure on me. I've written and edited TV children's shows, and it's like there's a lot of pressure there, to deliver, but you really just don't want to let them down. I think that's the bottom line. It's tough, but what do your kids? Do your kids know how important you are? I mean, do they see the Sally Ride quarter and go, "Mommy did this"?
I don't know that I'm all that important. I just get to do what I love, and that's the big deal for me. But so my son Asher actually he
Great
likes
name.
to go buy cookies at D.D. Reese in Westwood, which is the best place to buy cookies. And recently he got a Sally Ride quarter in change for the first
Wow.
time. And he came home and he showed it to me. And I said, well, Asher, did you say something? Did you say my mom made that? And he's like, Mom, they're going to think I'm.
Oh, that's genius. Wow, that's awesome.
That's cool. Very cool. Also, her first design was the George Bush obverse, and that was in 2020. That was a presidential dollar. I think there was a big gap, wasn't there, between the last president and President Bush? Wasn't there several years there?
I believe so, yeah.
In presidential dollars, but they never did, or did they add that to the U.S. Mint set? Do you know? Do you remember, Stacker?
Where's one of the possibilities? He would know. He knows everything about the United States Mint that you could even want to know, and more. He's amazing.
But I don't think it's easy to get your hands on. I don't think the mintage on that was very high.
No. I have a question for you. So you started working for the AIP in 2020, you said, right? 2019? Thank you. Sorry. What was the process like for that? And is there minimum requirements that the Mint has for you? Do you have to be like American citizen, or do you have to live in a certain,
Yeah, you can see all the specifics if you go to the call for artists page, and then it spells it all out for you. But yeah, you have to be an American citizen. They want to see that you're actually a professional artist, that you make a living off of your art. So we had to show things like that.
So you got to be an accomplished artist to begin with, is what they're saying.
That's the hope.
Somewhat.
Let's go back to George Bush. One other question I forgot to ask her, and was there a challenge to do that one? Because I think you had told us maybe yesterday that it was a long time it took you to do the George Bush medal. Or coin.
I don't know if longer than typical, but I try to take my time, because one of the things I do with portraits is I try to capture somebody not just like on a particular day, but something that feels like it encapsulates kind of a longer period, that feels like, oh yeah, that's the essence of that person. That's what, that's part of my trying to do right by the man.
Did you see videos of him too before you did?
Yeah. I watched countless videos of him talking, and of course, I remember him when I first came over to the United States, and he was the first president, not when I came to the United States, but really when I came into consciousness as like a political person who was aware of what is going on around her.
I see. Do you have to wait on the family to approve that, or is that something the committees have to do? The family.
The family gave input, and when I heard that the family, their preference was my design, that's very meaningful, obviously.
I would say so.
Absolutely.
Most important thing right there, beyond committees, the family.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I know we can't talk about what's going on in the future at the United States Mint and what you've been commissioned to do. That's fine. Is there anything you'd like to see at the United States Mint?
Oh my goodness, that's again one of those
Too
questions
much.
that's really hard to answer because there's so many good answers, it's hard to choose. One person that I have been thinking about in general that I would love to see honored in some capacity is the poet Emma Lazarus. She's the one who wrote the poem that's under the Statue of Liberty, the really famous poem.
Bring
That's
us
awesome.
your tired, huddled masses. Very
Yes.
good. That's amazing. I think that's one of the most profound statements, poems in the history of ever, since ever.
If
And
that
I think
Agreed.
comes out on a
everybody,
coin,
I think
we'll know
everybody
where
on a
it's
global scale knows that particular poem. It just, anybody who has, who's alive, who has a heartbeat, who wants to make a better life for themselves or even other people and share the success of this country, I think they know that and wanted that to be, I guess, what do we say? Propped up. But I have a question for you. What about Tina Turner? Do you think we could have Tina Turner on an American Women Quarter for 2025?
I love Tina Turner. I'd be all for it.
Right? She's amazing. I mean, it's not only is she an entertainer, but let's face it, her and Ike Turner had a little bit of a go around that we all know about, regrettably. And that makes her persevere in the most amazing ways because she could have just laid down, crawled, and just called it a day. But she didn't. She didn't give up. She's so strong. I just give myself chicken skin thinking about how amazing a person she really is. I would love to see her. So if the United States Mint's listening, Tina Turner, please.
You you had said earlier about the AIP that the Mint will throw out some projects, and then you as artists decide whether you want to accept them or not. So would a person, that's also part of the infusion program like you reject a project because they're too busy, or is it just something they just like go through in their mind to meditate on? I don't know how long you have to decide, like, is it weeks or days? And then just say that's not for me because it's not my style, or what's the process?
It's days. I mean, if I have a whole bunch of deadlines happening at the same time and I don't feel like I can do a program justice just based on the amount of time I have, then I'm going to say no. Otherwise, I love the assignments. I love doing the research. I love working on them. So usually I say yes.
Yeah, because well, it's time consuming, but it's an opportunity of a lifetime. And I was thinking, do you compete? I'm going to use the word compete, but you can use a different word against the other people in the AIP, or also artists that are the more full-time artists there?
The full-time artists, the sculptor engravers also will sometimes submit designs for various programs. So sometimes it'll be, a mix of people. But I guess it is competitive by nature, just in the sense that, only one of the designs can get minted.
Right.
But honestly, it's just cool to be on this team. And all the other artists in the AIP program, they're consummate professionals at the top of their field. I respect and admire them and the work they do. So I'm just glad to be in their number.
You all congratulate each other when you get the assignment.
We
Right?
try to. Yeah. We definitely give some virtual high fives.
Virtual, that's good.
We all live in different places.
It's amazing.
Oh, that's cool too. Yeah. So you have different backgrounds.
There's another question here. Azure Blue has a question. Does Elana is she a coin collector? Does she collect the works of any other artists? I think you've already answered the one about if you're a coin collector. Do you collect the works of any other artists?
So mostly it's other painters. And I've been doing that since I was in school. We would swap with our favorite painters. And so I'm rather proud of the little collection of paintings that I've accumulated over the years. But in terms of coins, really, I'm just getting started.
That's a great attitude. So do you have any favorite programs at the United States Mint, like the American Innovation Coins or the American Women Quarters, or maybe the Morgan and Peace dollars, or maybe annual sets, the American Women Quarters proof set, silver proof set, and so on and so forth, or the ornaments?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there's so many that I like. I'm not, I've never been super into the ornaments. So that's just, that's not my thing. But the American Women's Quarters, I think that's a fantastic program. I was so excited to get to be a part of that. And the Morgan and Peace dollars are just gorgeous. And my own taste tends to gravitate more towards kind of traditional, just kind of this more dignified kind of, maybe even a slightly old-fashioned beauty. But I'm looking at the all-time superstars, like Weinman. I'm looking at the double eagle,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's what I really love.
So you're going back to the traditional, I mean, the old school coin designers, some of the most beloved coin designers that we even had ever at the United States Mint. That's fantastic.
They are my most beloved as well. Yes.
That's awesome. Mickey, got anything else, sir?
Cartoonish stuff, I'm not too crazy about either. I'm totally with you on that. So some designs, if they get a little bit too cartoonish, then I think they're going the wrong direction as far as coins. I like the traditional ones, the classic liberties and stuff like that. But I think the direction is the other way. It seems like they're trying to get more of the young audience involved. So they're doing a little bit more fun things, but they have to keep it. They have to keep it classy, or they're going to lose me. They have to keep it really classy.
We all have our own predilections, and I'm with you in that. I really love that the golden age of coins. I love that art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Even the animals, if they're too realistic, the animals, they're cool, but there's something about just sort of the older ways that they presented the eagle and things like that. Even
so you asked me if there's anything that I'd love to see. I would love to see a new awesome heraldic eagle. I mean, because we had it in the quarter the whole time I was growing up, and I loved it. And we had it on the back of the silver eagle, of course. And there's just something about a heraldic eagle.
Right. Good idea.
Absolutely.
Throw those ideas out. You got to give the Mint your 2 cents. We got.
Have you been to a U.S. Mint location? Oh, sorry, Mickey.
No, I was just gonna say they have 2026 coming up, and they've actually opened it up to the whole entire world to talk about different designs. And I've got some designs for the women's quarter. They're supposed to have one. Is it one women's quarter or one women's 50-cent piece in 2026? Do you remember? It has to do with women, because I remember sharing with you, Vince, about the hands. Like you could have different colored hands, doing different things, representing what women have done in history to get the United States to where they are, in the 250 years. Each set of hands represents a different woman that did something, and she's got something in her hand, like Martha Washington with the flag, or another woman with something else. And that way you can get more women in one coin. But I can't remember if it's a 50-cent piece or if it's a quarter. Anyway, this is the opportunity for Elana Hagler to just really throw out all her ideas. I'd like to see her initials on 2026 stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yes. Yes,
thanks,
please.
Guys.
Also, have you been to any U.S. Mint locations before we wrap it up here this afternoon?
I have.
And what
in
what
2019,
kind of capacity was the tour? Sorry.
Oh, no problem. So they brought us all over, and we were together for like 3 days and just learning all about, making a coin, because the artwork that you do for coins, it's like a map to sculpt. It's very different from the way I draw when I'm just drawing for myself. So we had all these workshops, and then we also got a tour, and we got to really take a look at the Mint in DC, and that was really neat.
That would be amazing.
West Point, right?
In DC, West Point, New York.
So so that was actually just the museum part in DC. And
I'm sorry, I've never been, so that's why I'm ignorant.
I want to see Philadelphia, because I lived in Philly for a long time, and I also want to see the Denver Mint. So both of those are on my bucket list.
Same. That's amazing. Now, there's a question here for you. Are your designs done freehand or on a computer?
So I used to do them all freehand, and then I would take a digital photo and then transfer it to the computer, and then just keep working on the computer. And now a lot of times I just do it all on the computer.
Absolutely. Now, I have to ask you a question. Do you think AI will be used to design U.S. Mint coins?
I think it's a tool. I think, and I've played around just experimentally, being like, AI, come up with a coin to honor such and such person. And it always, like, at this point, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but it tends to lack a little bit of heart and soul, as you might imagine.
Right.
So I don't feel super threatened by AI at this point. I feel like it's a tool, and it's a tool that we're going to figure out how to use to our best advantage.
When I was in art class, my art teacher was like the most amazing person you could ever have as an art teacher. She was the head of the special reading room at the Getty Center in LA. She's amazing. But she had introduced to me how to make her own paints. But one thing I was like, hey, that's cheating. It was an overhead projector. When I found out that artists used overhead projectors, I was like, well, wait a minute. Anybody can be an artist at this point. Well,
not everybody does.
Right. Yeah. So that was an amazing, eye-opening experience. Overhead projector. Who would know? Who knew? It's just, wow.
Yeah, the ancients
But
used them
is there any kind of, that's not a crutch, but what kind of tools do you use or utilize when you're producing your art? Now, you say you don't do freehand so much. You say you use computers. Are there any other tools that you bring in to aid you?
Well, I like Procreate. I feel like that's the program that feels the most like actually drawing on a piece of paper to me. I also use Photoshop. I use Adobe Illustrator. So those are the things that I use. And other than that, my process is pretty similar to the way I would just draw something out on a piece of paper. It's just I'm doing it on a computer screen instead.
Now, do you find that challenging or limiting, or is your screen like 70 inches? That way you can kind of work around the project.
It's not that limiting because I could always zoom in. And so I can like work on really, really tiny things and then zoom back out and see the whole thing. So there's a lot of zooming back and forth to make sure that the parts are always relating to the whole in a way that feels just very, balanced. You never want any one area to kind of take over in a negative way. Yeah, I don't feel like it's limiting.
Now, the bristlecone pine that we're seeing on tomorrow's release, is that a real tree or is it something that you've come out with?
No, so it has parts of real trees because I wanted that authenticity. I didn't want it to be just completely made up from my head. So it has bits and pieces, like there's a certain branch that goes a certain way that I really love that gesture that it's actually from an actual bristlecone pine, and I wanted to include it. But the whole tree altogether, no, it's invented.
That's amazing. Wow.
The thing about trees coming out of rocks is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what a metaphor.
Right.
I saw a video today that had a tree growing out of a stop sign pole. It was the most remarkable. And you talk about perseverance. That was it. I was just like, this is what it's all about. And we could all learn something from that, It's like mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Dun-dun-dun. Try the veal. I'll be here all week. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up? I know it's been almost an hour here. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's talk about your Instagram. If you can leave a link in the chat for that. No problem there.
If people look up my name, like my website, for example, is www.elanahagler.com. And if you look up my name on Instagram, if you look up my name on Facebook, I tend to be more active on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. Honestly, just type in my name, you'll find me.
Awesome. I just put your Instagram up there, and your Facebook I'll put up as well.
So you're preparing yourself, right, to take on a lot more assignments?
I've got a lot of assignments going, so
mint related.
What I need is more hands and more time in my life.
I bet. I look forward to seeing more EH on coins that I use in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
From your mouth to God's ears. Thank you very much.
Amen to that.
Thanks
CO2 hash oil, you got it up there. Thank you so much, Elana Hagler. There you go. Thank you. Chicken skin excitement. That's right.
We definitely want to ask Elana to come back when her next coin is popular or some other reason, maybe we can have her just to talk again. It'd be great.
You guys are really easy to talk to, so thank you so much for putting me at ease.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you for kind of putting us at ease too. I know I was all geeked up and acting all fidgety and stuff because, I mean, number one, this is the really first time that I've actually done an interview that with somebody of your stature, of your greatness. And not only that, I'm showing my mug for the first time as well too.
That's awesome. I'm pretty short, so don't start talking about my stature and my greatness.
yeah, and thanks for doing this. You're so willing. It was so nice.
Oh, it was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you both.
Absolutely. Amazing guest. Now, can you stick around here? We'd like to ask you some questions off the air. I think Mickey had a question for you. If you still want to ask Mickey, it's up to you. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, sure.
All righty. Man, oh me, oh my. I've had such a great time here. I forgot all about the Morgan and Peace dollars. Honestly, it felt like they didn't even matter for except maybe a couple minutes, and that was it. After that, it was like, boop, let's go back to the most important person in the room right now. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. And if you do sell stuff out of your studio, is your studio accessible online? Can people check out your stuff there, or is it something that's physical address?
Yeah, they could contact me over social media. They can write to my website.
And you sell prints of your originals, correct?
I do some. Like I tend to be more about the original thing rather than prints, but
very cool.
Nothing like an original.
Yeah. See that painting in the background? My daughter takes photography and we blow it up at Costco and put it on our walls here. We're an artistic family. We love art and we love your art. It's very remarkable. It's stunning. And we look forward to seeing many more of your designs on many more US Mint coins. And also, are you thinking about working at any other mints?
I'm always interested in good opportunities and cool subject matter and the opportunity to make some beautiful work. Yeah.
Awesome. Amen to that. All right, folks. Well, we want to thank you for joining us here this afternoon. We really appreciate you here this afternoon, no matter what the time zone you're in. Mickey, you want to say anything, sir, before we depart?
First and foremost, thank you to Elana for being here, but also everybody else for supporting the interview, and hope you got the coins you wanted today during the release. I know a lot of you folks were talking about tomorrow's release, which is Elana's design, so that'd be great if you could pick up some of those, give them as gifts, and it's an awesome coin. I think it's very historic. I'm a nature lover. I love trees. I love that design. You're a very good artist, exceptional artist. So I look forward to getting my own. I have my own eBay shop. I've sold some, but I think I'll sell a few more. I think I'll get some extras, and I think it'll be popular for months to come.
All right, Mickey, I'm going to look something up here for us all. And, we don't mean to embarrass you by fawning over you.
Oh, my God.
But you're kind of a big deal around here. So we do appreciate you. I'm going to give out a prayer. I hope you guys don't mind. I like doing that. I like sharing God's words and that kind of stuff. And this is for everybody. Okay. I'm going to find a good one. I probably should have done this a little bit earlier, but that's the way it is. All right. Today's Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. That's important. Okay, here we go. Today is Wednesday, another day to give thanks to our Creator. God is our Redeemer. He is faithful and true. Give him praise and honor and glory. I'm happy and thankful. I'm blessed. Amen. Wishing you all love, comfort, and many more blessings. God bless. Stacker out.
Amen.